Well, it's hard to come after a man like him, Paul Nyrup. And it's a little bit difficult to make a speech on a language that is not one's own home tongue. So you have to be a little patient about my English. You know, I have exercised. The last 2 weeks I have spoken English when I come home back from office to my two boys, 17 and 20. But I wonder why they did not always what I told them to do. So a couple of days ago I asked them, why are you doing this when I told you to do that? Then they smiled to me and said, Daddy, we don't understand your English. I hope it goes better now. There's a life after the crisis, a better life, a life where new values have grown up, a life where the social capital sets the standard, the kind of capital that arises when people stand together. And as Paul told you, and you know it, the world is in the middle of a global crisis brought on by greed and endless needs, reckless speculation, excess consumption, and ruthless financial investors with no independent or external control. A crisis that threatens the livelihood and well-being of people, the mutual solidarity and in the world society, the political stability, and the survival of people in the most vulnerable places on earth. A crisis that is not just about money and finances, much bigger things are at stake. We will not only have to recreate the crushed world economy, we also have to offer new values, which include a more just and humane world where a social market economy will lead the way with financial control and consistent inspection as well as joint rules. Transparency and responsibility as the main characteristics of the world's financial institutions. And you may ask, do we in AIEJI have anything to offer to ensure this change? Yes, we do. And yes, we must give any contribution, whether big or small. We must work for a change because we, as social educators, are obliged to work for democracy and social justice. We are obliged to work for a globalized world characterized by solidarity, a globalization which respects universal human rights, civil rights for men as well as for women and the environment. A globalization founded on international democratic procedures and institutions to the benefit of social justice, equality, and the people's right to self-determination. And if this is going to be more than just a dream, if this is going to be real, then each one of us must contribute as social educators every single day. We cannot leave these crucial matters to the governments of the world alone. Together, as a group, as the International Association of Social Educators, AIEJI must make its contribution. You know, AIEJI was founded in the aftermath of World War II to strengthen the help of the thousands of people, of children left homeless and orphaned from the war. Also, the financial crisis kills people. Another 100 million people have fallen under the poverty line, additional to the 2.2 billion already living in extreme poverty. The economic crisis has not only knocked out the financial markets, it has sent the unemployment rates through the roof and created even more poverty. You know, children are taken out of school in order to work and make an extra family income. And ruthless employers exploit this chance to press salaries and working conditions further toward the bottom. When I think of the people, children, young people and adults, that we as social educators work for and with, people who are already find it difficult to find their place in society, people whom society finds it difficult to find a place for, it makes me worried. Because they are children, they are young people, they are adults who will experience even tougher times, and they will grow in numbers. They are not granted crisis help from governments around the world as the financial institutions, as the car industries, and as the banks are. Poverty will grow, social turbulence will increase, crime rates will rise. As a social educator working with young criminals once told me a couple of days ago, "Do you know," he said to me, "young criminals are only realizing on a very personal and concrete level what financial capital realized on a more general level." And I must say these young criminals are not short of great role models these days. We must strengthen the effort toward the most vulnerable, the ones who are suffering the hardest from the economic crisis. In AIEJI, we are going to make it clear that exposed and vulnerable children and young people of the world also need targeted resources to help them through the hard times ahead. As social educators, we must put pressure on international governments and international associations and demand that they take care of the ones who are hit hardest by the crisis. We must pledge the international relief organizations to devote resources toward the children, young people and adults whom the crisis excludes from the communities of society. We cannot do this alone, I know that, but we can make a difference together and with other organizations working in the social field. And it is time for a new world order. A world order built on the social capital that we as social educators work with. And that is people who create change through cooperation, people who contribute with what they can, together with other people. We must meet the challenges by working together across borders and coordinating between people. I know, and you can see it, that globalization has showed us its negative sides, a social dehumanization. But we are not going to fall into one-sided critical talk of the globalization. We must see the opportunities that the globalization provides and build networks that will strengthen the fight for a decent human existence for all. We must use the global media, find out how to master them and direct focus toward social exclusion. Across national borders, we must strengthen our professional competences and join organizations in the fight against social injustice. And we must do this also in absence of crisis. The development of society is influenced by increasing globalization, faster communication technologies and education, and know-how forming the basis of professional competences. This raises new and sharpened demands to each individual person. And the ones who are not able to meet these demands will find it hard to integrate and find a place in society, which will lead to marginalization and exclusion. As social educators, we must understand the nature of a society built on networking, on information, and knowledge, so we can prevent the exclusion and help the ones already close to or fallen off the edge. We must work for a society that is capable of and has the will to embrace the more exposed groups of people, the most fragile members of society, on their own premises. A society which can take part in contributing to their socialization within local communities. This is where social educators can make a difference. And this is what social educators do every day. On a daily basis, we contribute to a different and a better world. Yes, we do. This is why social educators must master social and communicative skills as well as different communication tools. We must use global media. Social educators must be able to build networks that ensure that the people we are working with and for can exercise their rights. We must build global networks. Social educators must improve and develop the condition under which the people we work with live. Therefore, as I have said many times, the social educator is also a political agent that must seek to gain as well as organizational and political skills. Our cooperation must be characterized by reaching across national borders, building global networks, and using the new media as a platform where we as social educators can produce and share knowledge of theories, of methods, and the practical work. Knowledge and exchange of experiences that will strengthen our professional competences and, at the same time, be of benefit to the people who are the focus of our work. And to make a difference as a social educator in a globalized world, that requires ongoing training and improvement of our professional skills if our work is going to contribute to a decent life for the most fragile members of society. As social educators in the network society, we must use each other across the national borders. Just have some water. I have a dream that social educators in Mongolia and Brazil who work with street children as the most natural thing in the world will use the new media to stay in touch and share experiences of how they tackle challenges in everyday work. I imagine a foster parent in the UK sitting in front of the screen, mailing his networks groups about today's activities, or social educators in Bolivia exchanging experiences with their colleagues in Spain about using musical projects as a method, or social educators in Norway writing on a webbook with their colleagues from Italy about how to help disabled people putting their own needs about the way they live first. I see social educators in Greenland gathering peers from all over the world to do a united protest against the neglect of care addressed to the home rule government. And social educators from Canada who have created the marketplace of good ideas as a blog on the internet, where they have a heated debate with colleagues from Russia about Makarenko's influence today. And my dreams begins now. The next couple of days, we will meet each other through many different workshops and activities. But promise me, don't leave it at that. Use this meeting, make connections, and stay in touch when it's all over. And for my part, I will ensure that AIEJI is committed as an organization to build a stronger international network and cooperation across borders, a worldwide community of social educators. These words may sound grand, but it is possible. We will encourage the creation of open meeting spaces for reflective thoughts, for democratic debate of new ideas, formulation of new propositions, free exchange of experiences and networking. That is what AIEJI must do. Pedagogy and social education as a profession has always had to find its own standpoint through the many changes of society in the aftermath of a war or during economic instability. The work of social educators is determined by the surrounding society, where the needs and changes of the society and changing political agendas form the frames within which we operate. The work of social educators focuses on social and pedagogical emergency situations. It is life-important aid for individuals and groups of individuals who not by themselves are able to sustain an existence. An aid which must be offered with respect to the personal integrity and dignity of each individual. The issues that social educators take part in resolving cannot solely be ascribed to the individual, but must be viewed in relation to the community and environment that the individual is a part of. The work of social educators can therefore not be limited to concentrate on individual needs and issues, but must be extended to the social environment and the society as a whole. The environment and society which each individual's function is embedded in is or will be in jeopardy. And this requires that we consistently make commitments on multiple levels, ethically, professionally, scientifically, and politically. We must contribute to making a better world. And as social educators, we are aware that if we are really going to make a difference for the people we work with, it requires involvement and presence, a direct contact and collaboration founded on solid knowledge and professional competences. We must explore our field of work. We must examine the results of it, and we must ensure that our theoretical and practical knowledge, our methods and tools cover what is needed in order to develop and innovate our profession. I'm going to end my speech. The next 4 days here in Copenhagen is a professional journey in knowledge. It's a journey in inspiration. It's a journey in friendship. It's a journey in good experiences. It's a journey of the heart and the mind. We know that another world is possible for the people we work with and the world as a whole. Can we? Must we? Do we have the will to make another world possible? Yes, we will. Yes, we must. Yes, we can. Do you want to join?